Okay, when I made this Lawrence Southern response video, so there's this one part in my video where I look at Lauren's channel, and by the way, I didn't mention this in my video, but is this supposed to look like a Nazi salute? Now, I'm not calling her out. All I did in my video was call her out for wearing, obviously just like taking the way that some Muslim women dress. And that seemed to me in horribly poor taste. But more importantly, it seemed to signal like a way of approaching the world and your platform. But anyways, what I ended up doing in my video is going to look at the internet like Wayback Machine and looking at old versions of her channel page. So I looked at these old versions of her channel page on the Wayback Machine, and I found that most of her early videos seemed to be about feminism, I guess. I mean, to be charitable, we could say they were about feminism. But what I found is that when I looked around the time of the Great Replacement video she put up and deleted, the Great Replacement being also the name of the terrorist manifesto in the New Zealand mosque murders. It was like a month before the Great Replacement video that she did these 3 videos that were all deleted. A month before the Great Replacement video, which is also deleted, and which is also the name of the murderer's manifesto. A month before that, we see some feminism stuff, obviously. We see this interesting salute. And but here we see Generation Identity, Europe's Youth Reconquista. And I went into what Generation Identity is, and I won't sort of go into that right now because I think we're about to learn. She also deleted this. I couldn't find this one. I did find this one, The Nightmare of Mass Immigration. I'm interested to see what she said in that. But first we're going to watch this one because this one came first. I have a beer, so don't worry about that. Did you just find it, system? How did you find it? Wow. It was just put unlisted. Wow, so chat for the win. We will be watching that one as well. You're telling me they're both unlisted. Oh, that's really helpful to know. So chat is informing me right now that actually I was wrong, and I need to be clear. These videos were not deleted. And that is actually very, very significant, and I apologize for misleading you. Let's not watch either of those re-uploads. Wow, and now we have the originals, and Have I Lost My Mind as well. Oh wow, it still links to the Generation Identity website. Wow. Wow. But she still links to the Generation Identity website on a video that's unlisted, but you can share it anywhere. People haven't commented in years, though. So I will say that. So she decided that these videos did not need to be public, which is, interesting. She also decided that they did not need to be private, though. Because that's easy. Making a video private is as easy as making it unlisted. It just doesn't get views anymore. But if you think you've made a horrible piece of propagandic trash, you would probably not keep it unlisted. So she must not think these are that bad. Maybe they're not that bad. I wonder why she unlisted them. Okay, let's check it out. First one, Generation Identity. Now, I talk about this in my video, but Generation Identity is a group that is based around the concept that Europe is being infiltrated by non-Europeans or people who are of the Muslim faith, or non-white people, I guess. It's basically arguing, the whole idea of the Great Replacement is the idea that white people are being replaced by non-white people. So if that resonates with you and you think that's one of the big problems in the world, I'm sorry for the people who know you and love you, but most of us hear that and we're like, that sounds super racist. So I'm going to put a little thing on the screen just to let people know who might pop by this stream that it's cloudy with a chance of racism. Because you have to wonder, why would you be concerned with non-white people? And Lauren talks about white people and non-white people's fertility rates, how often they fucking give birth and Okay, so let's see what she said in this video that's unlisted.
About a year or two ago, during the peak of the refugee crisis, I found myself wondering, like many, what the hell is Europe thinking? Why are the people so complacent in this destruction of their identity?
So she's definitely coming on strong, but let's see where she goes.
Why is no one standing up to this? When they know their people will be replaced with a different culture in the next 100 years, where are the lovers of Western culture? I kept pondering this until I stumbled upon a video, or rather, a movement that doesn't just want to talk about the reshaping of Europe, but has already begun the revolution.
Even if like we try to take the negative connotation away from the word propaganda for a second and just use it to mean like media meant to propagate sort of ideologies, Lauren is skilled, genuinely skilled at creating propaganda. I don't think she's editing this herself or something. I mean, she honestly might be. She very well might be. I would. It's entirely possible she is editing this herself. I think she is really good at making propaganda. I mean, you have to obviously be biased to even. It's not propaganda doesn't convince you. Okay, I don't mean it's convincing. I don't mean she knows how to construct a logical argument or she's intelligent or anything. I don't really care about that. I'm just saying like, if you already agree with Lauren, she hypes you up for sure. She knows how to do that.
Alors, Génération Identitaire, c'est un mouvement politique, un mouvement jeune, c'est un mouvement qui a été créé par des jeunes et fait pour des jeunes. C'est un mouvement qui a pour vocation de faire vivre l'identité dans les régions, dans les villes, en France, en Europe. C'est un mouvement qui mobilise réellement la jeunesse. C'est cette importance de se réunir et que la jeunesse, c'est le futur d'un pays. Et que si la jeunesse se mobilise, que la jeunesse y croit, eh bien le pays ira mieux. Et voilà, c'est quelque chose d'important de se mobiliser en tant que jeune puisqu'on est l'avenir.
So if you heard that, you'd be like, oh, he's starting like an exercise and self-care club.
Et de défendre notre culture. Je pense que dans tous les pays du monde, chaque peuple aspire à cela. Et je vois pas en...
And now it gets into white identity stuff. Like, Europeans don't have a shared identity, y'all. Am I crazy?
Pourquoi ce serait offensant de vouloir vivre selon une culture qui est millénaire et j'espère que mes enfants vivront comme moi j'ai vécu et comme mes grands-parents vivront en France.
Yeah, is that not a ripoff of the Aphex Twin? I mean, pathetic. It looks like shit compared to Aphex. It's honestly insulting to even compare it to Aphex Twin's logo, honestly. Shields from 300. So yeah, the Shields from 300 actually had that exact same thing. Yeah, I talk in my video about how Lauren's sort of like highlighting France a lot in her oeuvre. You know, like that one I called racist before, where she's walking around France and filming just like and saying there are people of color there without saying it, and her whole audience understands it. There's an obsession with France in particular. Now, is that because the writer Renaud Camus is from France? And he's the one who came up with the Great Replacement sort of framing. Who knows? Is it because France? I don't know. But if you're standing France, I don't know. I mean, it's as bad as standing the U.S., I would say.
Okay, so JD, Can you tell me why you joined Generation Identity?
Actually, I was part of the Unitarian movement much before the existence of Generation Identity. It's since 15 years, more than 15 years now. And the main reason is because I realized that my country and the whole Europe were in a big danger, and that if we wanted to save something of our civilization and also to save the people who we loved, our family, our friends, we have to do something politically.
I want you to ask yourself while you're watching this a very simple question, and I mean this in a very neutral way. Ask yourself, is this journalism? Because I think that's a fundamental question with Lauren Southern's work. I'm not even going to tell you how to answer it. Obviously, I am a critic of Lauren's work. But I encourage you to think it through yourself. Is this journalism? Because it certainly looks and smells like journalism. But does it taste and feel like journalism?
In Istanbul, so it's the headquarters of Generation Identity for France.
You got a bar, the most important thing.
Yeah. And the bar can be...
Okay, I gotta be honest. This is not impressive. I mean, look, you can be comfortable where you're comfortable. If there was a non-racist organization that I liked, I would chill in wherever place with them. So I'm not whatever, it doesn't matter. But this is not a very nice place. This is not, I'm sure Lauren was like, oh, okay, it's homey.
Of Generation Identity for France.
You got a bar, the most important thing.
Yeah. And the bar can be turned in a meeting room, conference room, and also organize the action of Generation Identity in Lyon.
And these are the main sign. Can you explain your main symbol?
Yes, this one is the lambda. So it's the Greek letter of the alphabet, and that's the beginning of the word Lacedaemon, which is the name of the city of Sparta in Greek, and that is because of this that the Greek soldier of Sparta have this sign on their shield, and we have chosen this symbol because
that was a very journalist move. Hey, credit where credit's due. She did her research and she pulled that up. Good job, Lauren.
Their shield, and we have chosen this symbol because the Spartans died in sacrifice in the battle of the Thermopylae 500 years before the Christ to protect the whole country from a Persian invasion, even if the enemy was much more numerous than them.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
And
very cool. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. What is your favorite sticker?
Sorry, what was that?
That we are a little bit in the same situation now.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
And that we are a little bit in the same situation now.
What is your...
She's like, yeah. He's like, no, I mean it as like a metaphor. It's like I mean it as like I don't literally think, I mean it as like a metaphor, like we're in the, I'm like the Spartan, and then the non-white, you do understand. Okay, cool, yeah.
Your favorite sticker here?
Good question.
Oh my God, Lauren is not comfortable. What's your favorite sticker here? She's like, I don't like this. I don't like how it looks. I don't like the vibe here.
No.
What is your favorite sticker here?
Good question.
You got a ton.
I think it's like you go over to a guy's house and he has like stickers everywhere all over his walls, and you're like, that's so creative.
Clément, tell me that it's this one.
This one? Oh, it's your friend?
It's me.
You're famous. Yeah.
I think the most effective is this one. It's me.
So they believe in okay, well this is very helpful. Okay, so they believe in stopping immigration. Okay, that's good. I'm glad I have that to sort of grab onto. They believe in stopping immigration. So immigration is when a human being moves from one location to another. That's what we call immigration. They want to stop that.
On est chez nous, it means it's our home here. and stop immigration. You understand that?
She just fucking says, mm-hmm. She doesn't say, well, actually, what do you mean by stop immigration? Do you mean literally no one should be able to immigrate?
And stop immigration. You understand that? It's very effective. But these ones, these stickers, it's a pride because the pictures used on the stickers, it's only action that we have organized. This one is on the rooftop of the mosque. This one is in the metro.
They went up to the rooftop of a mosque and started yelling because they don't want Muslims in their community. It's just a lot of people who you could pass on the street and you would think they had like a rational sort of worldview. Yeah, I do think she puts a pretty face on this stuff, but it's entirely her choice. I mean, she could do whatever she wants, especially nowadays. Like, I mean, she could do whatever she wants. She doesn't have to keep banging this drum, but she does. She does.
You know the Yellow Jackets? It was a group that we organized to protect people in the metro when there was some aggression there. And
No, they're copying that from the yellow vest thing, which was very popular in France, right? But these are way uglier because the whole thing with the yellow vest thing was that they were vests that anyone could have. Because in France, apparently, when you drive a car, you have to have like a safety vest in your car. That was, when I looked it up, that's what it was. So these yellow vest protests in France, everybody puts on their yellow vests that they have from having to own a vehicle. My mistake. No, they didn't start until 2018. That's kind of interesting, actually. So I guess they weren't copying that. My mistake.
here is our participation to.
But it is worse. They weren't copying it, but it is worse because, as I was saying, the whole idea is anyone has those yellow vests.
There was some aggression there, and here is our participation to the demonstration for the family, and so it's a pride that we don't have to use pictures from a data bank, but pictures of our action.
Yeah, dude, that's really awesome that you actually went up to a mosque and started yelling. You should be really proud of that. People really think it's cool.
There has been an old book here before, but now there is new pictures and it's better organized. Mm-hmm. A lot of
yeah, no, it looks great, dude.
Pictures about the movement, souvenir of.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Like this type of thing in the Proud Boys, like you're just like, oh, these guys are super lonely. I mean, they need a little boys club. And that doesn't justify it at all, but it's so funny. Like they just need a little boys club. It's sad that there is not like more just like non-toxic male stuff to do.
Actions and
What did you do here?
Oh, this was near a refugee camp of illegals. It was Roma from Albania, and they have no right to be under a bridge in the center of Lyon. So the guys from Lyon organized a small action, and it means get out of the country.
If you're covering something serious, you should blatantly have a bias. I almost said have a virus. You should blatantly have a bias because you do have a bias. So Lauren, obviously, come on, she links to their fucking web.
You guys were telling me you get arrested often?
Yes. We, as you can see here, it was in Calais. The police broke up our barrage on the bridge.
So this is in May 11th, 2017. The terrorist who murdered people in a mosque in New Zealand donated to the Generation Identity group and named his manifesto The Great Replacement, named after Lauren Southern's video she made about 2 months after this video, which is also unlisted. Or deleted. I think actually the Great Replacement one is deleted. I think she didn't unlist the Great Replacement one. I think she deleted it actually. Which is very interesting that she would delete the Great Replacement video, but unlist these videos, implying she doesn't think they're as bad. We know in the video that I covered, she says that she didn't like that some of the data was bad in her career replacement video because she got called out. I mean, it was obviously atrocious because there's no scientifically valid reason to be racist. But obviously, she didn't think these videos were as bad.
Activists have been taken to custody, but generally they stay a few hours or a few days, and then they get out and they have fines to pay.
Have you been arrested personally?
Of course.
I mean, I do think a journalist would probably ask about that, right? I mean, like, ask further about that, right? Or did it just get cut out?
Have you guys ever had to face off political enemies? Do you guys ever have to fight to protect yourselves? I mean, you train. Has that ever happened?
Yeah, that's why we try to train, but we try also to avoid fights. It's not the purpose.
So she's interviewing this group, right? And she doesn't feel that she has to ask, like, why do you view the Muslims as your political enemies? Instead, she asks, have you ever had to fight off your political enemies?
Has ever had to face off political enemies? Do you guys ever have to fight
Face
to
off.
protect yourselves? I mean, you
Fight.
train. Has that ever happened?
Yeah, that's why we try to train, but we try also to avoid fights. It's not the purpose. We are not here to look for it. But of course, there is violence in the society. We were attacked and threatened many times. We are not surprised now because we know that our civilization is in a big danger. So it's not a game.
I don't want to listen to this. Yeah, very cute. Wow. Yeah, I mean my video on Lauren Southern is permanently demonetized, not necessarily because I talk about terrorism, but it would be for that reason. But instead it is because of her fucking music video that I didn't at the time I didn't realize I should have cut it down more. But she had this fucking video and it like the music got my video demonetized. Nice article you included in your video, Lauren. So yeah, that's what got that video demonetized. It's really propaganda.
Teach me some anti-Antifa moves.
Some anti-Antifa moves.
They're gonna teach me some anti-Antifa moves.
Do you know what anti-Antifa is? It's actually a pretty easy math problem to work out if you're good at negatives and double negatives. By the way, no one calls it Antifa. Just call it anti-fascism if you're talking about anti-fascism. It's like she could probably watch Better Call Saul to learn how to like do a little bit better montage. Wow, it's a workout video. I mean, it just somehow transitioned into a fucking workout video. I mean, like, what, yo? Are you fucking kidding me? This is embarrassing.
Ok, donc je m'appelle Marie, j'ai rejoint les identitaires il y a à peu près 4 ans maintenant. Et donc j'ai commencé à Toulouse à militer, et puis ensuite j'ai déménagé à Lyon. Et du coup, depuis que je suis à Lyon, je participe aux différentes activités militantes, et notamment, du coup, je gère un cours pour les filles le mercredi soir.
And I actually think even calling that dubstep is being nice. I would call that EDM, personally. Because it's too up-tempo to be dubstep, in my opinion. That's not an educated opinion.
Je pense que c'est important, puisque au départ, ce qui m'a attiré chez les identitaires, c'est vraiment tout.
Well, at the beginning, what really attracted me to Generation Identity was, so, okay, check it out. I'm white. I don't have anything else going for me, right? I don't have a sense of self-esteem. I feel afraid and scared at night. I can't be alone with my thoughts. And then I was like, but what if I just blamed people who aren't white? And then I, wore a cross around my neck and stuff. Maybe that would make it all okay. So far, so good.
Toutes les idées qui sont mises en avant. Aujourd'hui, je trouve qu'en tant que femme, on est vraiment les premières victimes de l'insécurité en France, dans les rues. On peut plus se balader tranquille, s'habiller comme on veut. Et en fait, il y a un constat qui s'est posé.
I like that Lauren's still nodding. I mean, does she speak French?
Qui sont mises en avant. Aujourd'hui, je trouve qu'en tant que femme, on est vraiment les premières victimes de l'insécurité en France, dans les rues. On peut plus se balader tranquille, s'habiller comme on veut. Et en fait, il y a un constat qui s'est posé, c'est qu'aujourd'hui, cette insécurité est vraiment liée à l'immigration massive qui se passe en France. Et je trouve que les identitaires sont les premiers à lutter vraiment contre cette immigration, contre cette...
Islamization. Man, people really think... I mean, I have to say, as a Jewish person, anti-Islam sentiment is just as bad as anti-Semitism. Currently, it's probably a bigger problem globally. I mean, anti-Semitism is used to like rally people who like are super like not well developed in their way of viewing the world, and it's the same with anti-Islam sentiment, Islamophobia. But like anti-Islam stuff, it does play a bigger, more prominent role globally, I think, than anti-Semitism. And I say that as a Jewish person. I just think like Trump, he was able to be like as anti, Islam. He was pretty anti-Islam. Like it was pretty obvious. But he couldn't do that for being anti-Jewish. Now in the future, that could be very different. And it could change at any time. And currently, trans people are also sort of filling that out-group category for the hegemonic power structure to maintain the status quo, I guess.
L'islamisation de la France, et c'est pour ça que j'ai rejoint les rangs de génération identitaire. Ah bah ça, bien sûr, ça se constate dans les rues tous les jours. Je veux dire, quand on prend le métro, qu'on se fait insulter, qu'on croise...
You're insulted by seeing a woman wearing a veil, you fucking insecure loser. I mean, I wouldn't want to wear a veil, but just fucking have some perspective.
Chez nous en France. Alors concrètement, déjà, je pense que les Français de souche seront minoritaires sur le sol français.
Ethnic French.
Donc je pense qu'il y aura des explosions de population, il y aura de plus en plus de flux qui vont arriver chaque année, de plus en plus de naissances de personnes extra-européennes. Et concrètement, dans 15 ans, si on ne fait rien, je vois une majorité de femmes voilées en France, occidentales ou orientales.
I mean, when you're interviewing people, the purpose matters. If you're doing it for entertainment, great. If you're doing it to promote a certain perspective, that's good too. But you can't always, you sort of have one first priority. But yeah, I mean, obviously, if I was interviewing this person, I would say, hey, why are you afraid? Why? I guess they say, I'm afraid that a majority of women, European or non-Europeans, will have to wear the veil. I would say, why are you afraid of that?
The increase of immigration across Europe has brought more than just cultural shift to the people. It brought the horrors of terrorism, particularly in France. One of Generation Identity's main goals is to stop immigration in order to end the reign of terror on both women and the average French citizen that has occurred as a result of open borders.
Citation needed? Wow, she just put that shit in her old videos, and it's still unlisted.
Is this something that people within the identitarian movement have seen and experienced themselves at all, the terrorism, or is it something that's very distant?
Not anymore. Not anymore. There is an activist who lives in Paris, in Nice, and some of them know really well the place where the terrorist attack happened. Some of us have seen the people running in the streets, the police going through the city with open doors, a rifle in the hands, and with an atmosphere of war. So it became real this day. And when I went to Nice and I walk on the Promenade des Anglais, I still can saw the blood on the ground. So beginning of that time, it became really real.
Do you sense that
I'm sorry, I didn't realize they were about to show that. It's always people who don't understand Islam or haven't researched it properly believe it encourages terrorism. Yeah, personally, I've read like large parts of the Quran, like most of it. And I'm not like a scholar, obviously. I'm not trying to pretend I am. And personally, I don't like it any more than I like Christianity or Judaism, but It's definitely got some violent stuff in it, but so do the other holy books. They're profoundly violent. I mean, it would be absurd to imply that, most Muslims are like following the Quran word by word. Like, they're obviously not.
Do you sense that
Sorry, I didn't mean to show that again. I just had to rewind. She said, "Do you sense that?"
French people more and more are coming towards identitarianism because of this?
Depends who. In Paris, they voted less for Marine Le Pen than 5 years before. So there is two phenomenon. It's people who don't want it to become real. They want still to live in the dream of multiculturalism. And there is also the replacement of a population, because European people are going far in the suburbs. Rich people are going always near the center in order to avoid this phenomenon. And then there is just the other people who stays in those areas. But I think that now there is really 2 or 3 friends. The wealthy people who can avoid the problem, the poor people who have to face them, and the immigration. So I think that France is really splitting apart now.
And Lauren just takes that? She just says,
Since the loss of Marine Le Pen, Generation Identity represents one of the last stands for French identity and anti-immigration. Their movement is growing across Europe, but whether or not it will grow faster than their culture's demise is in question. If you want to learn more about them, you can go to their website, donate, or even join your local chapter. And of course, you can support my work in the links below.
Lauren, why did you unlist this video? Why did you unlist this? Please respond. Why did you unlist this? I would love to know. Please tell me why you unlisted this video. Okay, next one you unlisted. Have I lost my mind? Well, I'm a therapist, but I don't know if I can help you from afar, but let's see. Sorry, I don't even know. She's gonna get me fucking demonetized again. That's a pretty good trick to get people demonetized. Oh, it's the flare gun thing she was a part of. The Defend Europe Generation Identity.
Okay, so you've probably seen the news, and a lot of people are asking right now, have I lost my freaking mind? Yes and no. Right now, all over Twitter, it is saying that Lauren Southern has set little refugee children on fire with flares in the middle of the ocean.
That's classic, straw man.
And people are saying that I'm having my basically political version of Britney Spears 2007, where I'm running off in the middle of nowhere. And
You'll never be even a quarter of a tenth of the person Britney Spears is. And the work that Britney Spears has created is of so much more value and has brought so much more joy into the world than you could ever dream of.
Setting people on fire. Well, luckily that did not actually happen. That is fake news from anyone you're seeing say that. And what did happen, though, is I tried to stop a migrant boat from illegally transporting people to Europe. And I'm on a mission here with...
She tried to stop a migrant boat. Yeah, and by the way, from the article I found when I did my video, I pointed out that actually in doing what she did, she actually facilitated migration. It says the ship was detained in Turkish-ruled northern Cyprus and 2 of its members arrested on suspicion of forging documents after 21 Sri Lankans were found on board, 5 of whom have since claimed asylum. And the circumstances of the arrests are ironic considering that the mission was based on attempting to stop people trafficking in the first place. And they facilitated 21 Sri Lankans, 5 of them claiming asylum. Trying to stop migrants from moving, trying to stop anyone from moving their body is like a pretty bad thing to do.
Identity, and I'm with the leader right now, Martin Sellner. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, he's the leader of Generation Identity?
And what did happen, though, is I tried to stop a migrant boat from illegally transporting people to Europe. And I'm on a mission here with Generation Identity, and I'm with the leader right now, Martin Sellner. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I'm just the co-leader of the Austrian chapter.
Co-leader of the Austrian chapter. And our goal was not to set people on fire, but to stop an empty boat from going down to Libya and filling up with illegal migrants and bringing them to Europe. Now, Martin, why does Generation Identity want to do this?
That does not. I don't know that what she just said is true. I'm not going to allege that it's false, but I don't. That's not the information that I had found about why the Defend Europe anti-migrant ship was detained. I would do some research into that if you're going to believe her.
It's an act of civil disobedience. If a government doesn't follow the law and doesn't protect our countries and our borders, then we have to do it on our own. It's not only our right, but our duty as citizens to now get active. And we came here to just get information, so to look around. But what we saw and what we learned, how these NGO ships are working together with human trafficking rings, was so horrible that we needed to do something, and we needed to face them on the sea, and to at least show for our generation and for the young people in Europe that we are not okay with that.
Mm-hmm. And this isn't trying to stop people from being saved. A lot of these people, you have to understand, are not refugees. These are illegal migrants that are being transported over.
Obviously, human trafficking is a genuine, real problem. You know, people are taken either against their will or in some sort of like what should be an illegal debt relationship that shouldn't be able to exist, and they're sort of like now in indentured servitude or slaves. I mean, modern like slavery still exists, and human trafficking still exists outside of slavery. You know, there's all kinds of this type of stuff that exists. But if she's saying that there was a situation where people, she's not stopping migrants, she's stopping people from being trafficked. I mean, if you know that trafficking is going on, you wouldn't just tackle it in that way, right? You wouldn't just go out on the high seas.
One, for democratic governments to get voters, which is not okay. They should not be importing voters. Two, of course, globalist big corporations like cheap workers. And then three, of course, there's the human trafficking aspect of it, which is absolutely horrible. So we want to stop these boats because it is an illegal action. There are people all over Twitter saying this was a terrorist act, that we are basically the right-wing version of Antifa.
I mean, stopping migrants from moving and you're essentially kidnapping people.
Well, no, we didn't have our faces covered. We were...
Congratulations, but you're essentially moving people against their will, and vulnerable people.
We're not trying to harm people. We brought a flare for the simple purpose of lighting up the flag so that people could see us in the water, not to harm anyone. And also, we were not trying to stop a legal act. We were trying to stop an illegal act. Greenpeace does this all the time, and they don't get the same reaction we did, where they try to stop boats that are legally going through the water, transporting goods legally. We were trying to stop a boat illegally trying to transport goods.
Goods? Goods? Goods?
There are people.
They are saving refugees.
Oops, I objectified those brown people. Oops.
Illegally trying to transport goods. There are people.
They are saving refugees, people in front of the Libyan coast. Why the hell are they bringing them to Europe and not back to Libya, where they belong to?
Exactly.
It's not about saving lives. It's about illegal immigration.
Exactly. Now, this was just a test round. Of course, a lot of people saw it didn't quite work out exactly the way we wanted to, but that's okay because this was just the first round of what we're doing. Martin, what do we have planned next?
In fact, as you said, it was just a test run. We just had to do something here. And also I have to say, I have to congratulate you because so different from all the other YouTube commentators. You're not just commentating on what you don't like, but you're going there, you're talking with people, and you even are...
What's different about Lauren than those other YouTube commentators who are commentating on what they don't like? What's different about Lauren and them?
Are eager enough and brave enough to take action.
Oh, thank you.
And we want to take this action further and further.
I don't think it's actually... So those other YouTube commentators don't like Generation Identity. What's different about Lauren? I cannot place it. But I don't think it's just that she's willing to take action, right? What is it?
Create and manage and organize an humanitarian rescue mission for a European future. So we want to protect our borders, we want to protect our coasts.
Oh, she linked to Martin's channel. Oh, interesting. Huh. That's odd.
And we also say if we, for example, see migrants who are actually in danger, we'll of course rescue and save them, but we will bring them back to the Libyan coast, and we will try to harass and make it impossible for these illegal NGO ships to continue with the work of human trafficking.
Ay, ay, ay.
And the biggest thing here is, why is the government not stopping this? Because we're not doing this because we want to stop people from legally doing what they're allowed to do. We're trying to stop illegal actions that the government is not stopping. In fact, the Coast Guard was...
It's so funny that people's brains work this way, where they'll just say it over and over, like, we're trying to stop illegal action, but never think, oh, I should justify why I'm allowed to stop illegal action, right? Like, because your brain should abstract in that way, like, oh, you want to be critical of what you're saying, right? You want to have this, like, feedback loop of, like, using your cerebral cortex as well as, like, you know, your amygdala. So, like, you want to go to that, like, but why am I allowed to intervene with what I consider illegal?
stopping us. They were helping this ship get through.
We would have stopped it, but the Coast Guard pushed us away from preventing this illegal ship performing the illegal actions. Our governments are doing nothing. They're just standing by and looking our countries being swamped by illegals, by Islam, by Islamic terrorism. And I think they're doing this because they're globalists. They don't care about those countries. They don't care that there's a brain drain taking place, that this massive immigration is like a pressure wall for these dictators there who are exploiting these countries. They don't care at all. They just want to import workers, cheap labors, and they just want a free flow of goods, of capitals, and they're against the sovereign nations and identities.
But officer, I was driving drunk because it was helping me chase someone who had committed a crime.
And when we are protecting our borders, we also want to help those people there. That's the main mission of a movement. We want to protect our borders, we want to have Fortress Europe, and we want to help people at place to give them perspectives that can stay at the home in the first place.
So Generation Identity is going to be continuing missions like this, but of course more organized with bigger ships and with more people taking part in the research aspect of it. The research took us a long time, days of calling and finding out when this ship left, but we're thinking if we can weaponize the internet as they did with He Will Not Divide Us and things like that, we should be able to figure out where this is going. Now you're going to be setting up a landing page where people can sign up to do different jobs.
Motherfucker can't even have a YouTube page. I'm sorry, I don't know if he's got a landing page. He can't even have a YouTube page.
In this big mission, when is that going to be up?
Exactly. We want to set it up during the next days, also with an announcement video. And just as you said, we need to get active now. And I think this cause of preventing this illegal NGO ship from doing human trafficking, from luring the migrants into the sea, this is a cause that could unite all the...
I just want to be clear. There's absolutely no reason to believe this guy. There's no reason to think he has any justification for referring to what he's referring to as human trafficking. It has not been challenged. It has not been evidenced. We're supposed to take this Europa Nostra motherfucker at his goddamn word. Motherfucker can't even have a YouTube channel. We're supposed to believe him at his word about what is and is not human trafficking. Literally get any job. Literally any job is better than being like the Austrian head of the fucking white nationalist organization.
Young Europeans, we will set up the logistics, we'll fundraise because we need as much money as these NGOs have. They are completely overfunded to save and protect our coast guards. And I also think that it's now really the time to become active. There's a huge audience. All the YouTube videos are watched. I see in the comment section there every day are more patriots and dissidents, but on the streets you don't see those guys. And I think activism cannot be a monopoly for the left.
Yeah, you can yell on the internet all you want and scream and write in the comment section, but you actually have to get on the streets if you want to prevent this. And I genuinely believe...
Yeah, you actually, as the 2019 mosque murderer in New Zealand who named his terrorist manifesto the same thing as a deleted Lauren Southern video said, you actually have to do something. And that's what Lauren's saying. You actually have to do something. Don't just watch her videos. Do something, she's telling you. Do something. Why'd she unlist this video?
I believe there is an importation of terrorism and an importation of illegal immigrants that is causing a lot of problems in Europe. And it's unfair to the people waiting 4 or 5 years to legally migrate to Europe as well. It's horrible. And I'm willing to do something about that. People can call me a terrorist or whatever kind of names you want, but the reality...
No, I call you a propagandist of terrorist ideology. You're not a terrorist. You're arguably worse. Arguably worse. I mean, Lauren's content could create so many terrorists. Isn't that worse than one terrorist?
If you want to help it out, you can wait up for the landing page, which will be on...
Sunday.
Sunday?
Sunday, maybe Monday. It depends on the good weather.
And where can people find it?
On defend-europe.org.
I almost typed in minus. Oh my God. It's not a website. It's not a real website. I'll pull it up. This is Defend Europe. It just went to this. Incel? I think that's another word. I don't think it means incel. Yeah, good job, dude. You're really good with tech.
Perfect. And just want to reiterate, no one wants to harm anyone here. Everyone that is...
Oh yeah, that's always good when you have to reiterate that in the last 20 seconds of your video. You fucking...
going online and saying this is terrorism, that we're trying to hurt people, that we're trying to kill people, that is absolutely fake news. This is peaceful stopping of illegal action that the government will not stop. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you, Martin, for being in the video.
Oh, why'd you unlist it? Lauren, why'd you unlist this? You didn't even call the Muslim people invaders. Why'd you unlist this? Have you lost your mind? Okay, and before I lose my mind, we have one more video to watch today. Thanks for tuning in, I guess. I don't know. I don't really care. I mean, I assume you're enjoying this for some reason. So this is the last one, and it was unlisted for some reason. Are there still comments? You're literally the only one actually doing something. Wow, no comments in 3 years. Wow. I don't even know. Wait, I want to look at that again, actually. Hold on. Mass invasion. Hold on, let's see. Let's just look for a second more. Wow, a lot of sexualizing, disgusting comments. I really feel bad for Lauren. I wish she would delete the sexualizing, disgusting comments. But I guess she's just a free speech absolutist. It's really disgusting. Okay, last video.
Okay, so I figured that it might finally be time for me to address the allegations that I am a soulless ice queen that hates all good in the world.
So the videos we've looked at are from May 11th, May 13th. Wow, these are really, she had some content lined up. May 11th, 2017. Sorry, that was his channel. May 13th, 2017. And then May 18th, 2017. Wow, she was really in the thick of it. And then remember, her great replacement video was just like 2 months later. A month and a half or 2 months later, I believe. I actually am kind of happy to be doing this on the level of like documentation because, I mean, I'll be able to post this and people can just look at her content that she made hidden. For the last unlisted video of the night, we have this one, which is just quite straightforward. The nightmare of mass immigration. Again, it does not have anything in the description about why it's unlisted, which would be a very normal thing to do, or to pin a comment about why you unlisted the video. Oh, wow, interesting. Something about the New Zealand wow, 3 years ago. So that might have been right around the time of the terrorist attack in New Zealand by the person with the manifesto with the same name as the video Lauren deleted. Interesting. All right. Oh, that's the most recent comment. Right. All right, let's check it out.
Hey guys, okay, so I figured that it might finally be time for me to address the allegations that I am a soulless ice queen that hates all good in the world. Fact check.
Classic Lauren strawman.
Fact check. I am not an ice queen, and despite being a female, I do in fact have a soul. The truth... The truth is that the Lauren Southern who does...
The pick-me energy is so overwhelming.
The truth is that the Lauren Southern who does all of this kind of craziness...
I'm not playing this stupid fucking music. Nice.
If the politicians won't stop the boats, we'll stop the boats.
So this is from the day after the previous video we just watched. Oh no, the day before. My mistake. This is from the day before. Right. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
No more! No more! Illegal immigration! No more! No more! Illegal immigration! Comes home at the end of the day to hang out with my hedgehogs, Beans, and Porge, who I love dearly, eats ice cream a little too much, and cries over rom-coms just like everybody else. And despite popular belief, I do not hate babies and puppies and immigrants. I tend to like most people when I meet them, and it hurts me like it would hurt anyone to watch people suffer, and I certainly don't want to deny anyone the opportunity to build a better life. That would be ridiculous.
Yeah, no more. No more. Illegal immigration. It has no rhythm. Like, it has the basic rhythm of like the number of syllables, but it doesn't fit together in like a rhythmic way. Like, it doesn't have to rhyme, obviously, but like you wouldn't repeat no more twice until you've said the thing. Then it just sounds like you're chanting illegal immigration.
So then why do I go around with such strong rhetoric and activism against mass immigration? Why would I want to stop these struggling families from getting to Europe? Well, my reason for this is because mass immigration is not the rainbows and unicorns that our politicians portray it as. It is, in fact, a tragedy. It is a moral nightmare, and we need to wake up to it. So, as I like to do on this channel, it is time to talk about some inconvenient truths. Uncontrolled immigration is an escape valve for nations that are running...
Oh, she's reading. Wow. Was she reading the whole time? Because I didn't notice it until this.
I like to do on this channel.
Wait, not
it is
yet.
time to talk about some inconvenient truths.
Right.
Uncontrolled immigration is an escape valve...
That's when she started. Right after Inconvenient Truths, she started reading.
Talk about some inconvenient truths. Uncontrolled immigration is an escape valve for nations that are running their affairs in irresponsible ways.
Yeah, I bet you thought that sounded really clever, huh? On this unlisted video.
A country, like a marriage, is harder to hold together when divorce is readily available. If Mexico can send...
What? You think we should make divorce more difficult? She probably does think that.
Is harder to hold together when divorce is readily available. If Mexico can send its thugs and drug dealers to America, what incentive does she have to properly manage her own affairs? If you have no accountability to your spouse and your family, then what keeps you honest? The availability of easy divorce cuts in the other direction too. If you're good and productive but your partner isn't, why bother? Why stick around? Just go somewhere else. Nothing is stopping you, but the damage that you inflict on your family and your children is often irreparable. We already know the intense damage that happens to children from broken homes.
Lauren, you've gotten a little tangled up in the metaphor. I mean, I don't agree with it on any level, but you've just objectively gotten completely lost and tangled in the metaphor.
This, sadly, is how it works for nations too. The best of a nation abandon it for greener pastures, leaving it drained of the very people most capable of improving the situation, and a constant stream of the very worst of the nation are thrown off onto the country's neighbors.
And that's why it's okay for me to restrict somebody's bodily freedom.
What's left is a country with a middle descending into barbarism. It is a perilous feedback loop. Many people have heard of this phenomenon called the brain drain. Now, that is just a simple, quick explanation. If you want to watch a slightly more in detail and fun video on this topic, I would definitely suggest checking out Immigration, World Poverty, and Gumballs, which will be linked in the description. Now, this unfortunate impact of immigration is actually not one of the main reasons that I oppose the type of immigration happening now. I just kind of wanted to address this idea that mass immigration is this moral good thing for the world, that it's nothing but helpful, because that is just absolutely not true.
I mean, I recognize that a lot of immigration comes from a place of like conflict, obviously, and stuff, but like, I just think people have the right to move about how they want. I don't really see, like, there are very few good reasons, I think, to limit someone's movement, and I have not heard anything resembling a good reason from any of these three videos why you should be able to limit someone's movement. I mean, she is the same person who made a video I criticized about, you know, how she wasn't able to leave Australia during the COVID pandemic. Like, she wasn't able to leave Australia during the COVID pandemic. And she made a whole video about it, and I criticized it because I thought it was full of misinformation. But I did say she's right to raise this as an issue. It is a genuine moral issue, the fact that governments were stopping people's movement during COVID. I'm not saying I'm even against it. I have to feel like we need our organizations to be able to react to something like a pandemic. I don't know whether it's objectively okay to stop people from moving from one country to the other. But a pandemic is a much better reason than whatever she has tried to put forward in these videos, which has not pointed to any objective reality like the transmission of viruses. It's all this abstract sort of ideology.
The biggest problem with the immigration specifically to Europe right now is that this mass importation of people is happening under false pretenses, and it is hurting the current populace. Huge economical burdens are being forced on these nations under the
Did she say economical?
Huge economical burdens are being forced on these nations under the guise of a refugee crisis. Yet, the vast majority of the refugees coming to Europe do not live up to the name anyways. Most of the so-called Syrian refugees are neither Syrian nor are they refugees. These people come from Gambia, Senegal, Somalia, and other backwards countries. None of these countries are in active conflicts. This means that none of these people are seeking refuge from war.
At the time you made this video, you thought a country should have to actively be in war for like refugees to be considered refugees from leaving the country? Do you think it should literally have to be an active like war conflict? On what basis?
Now, admittedly, it sucks to live in Somalia. I would not want to live in a legitimate rape culture either. So,
well, what? What? Did Lauren just say the phrase rape culture? Did Lawrence Southern just say rape culture? And then just say, oh, as if rape culture is something Somalia suffers with, but Canada, Lauren's country of origin, doesn't?
perhaps one may think that even though they're not necessarily taking in refugees, Europe is taking in families from these countries hoping to find better lives. Well, I would like to think that too, but it also is not true. Predominantly, the people coming over are single men of military age. And if you think about it, what kind of men seeking refuge leave behind their women and children? Even the EU, an extremely
People who need to make money to send back to their women and children? Or just people without families? Or like without families that they, without wives and children?
pro-migrant group has been forced to make an admission. EU Vice President Frans Timmermans is on record saying that 6 out of 10 migrants are coming to the EU for economic reasons.
Lauren, money is how you buy food and stuff.
These are not refugees at all. These people are economic migrants whose European adventures are being enabled by globalist NGOs and puppet governments.
Economic migrants taking European adventures? She's writing poetry now. She can't even remember it, so she's got to read it.
Adventures are being enabled by globalist NGOs and puppet governments. These migrants are even paying upwards of $3,000 for space on an overcrowded barge. That is not conspiracy stuff.
Is that supposed to mean that they're not economic migrants? Do you believe that they're economic migrants and that's not good enough? Or do you not believe they're economic migrants? Because both of those are very stupid.
This is something that is widely reported on by outlets both left-wing and right-wing. True victims of war could never afford this cost. It is a racket supported by promises of social welfare in exchange for fronting $3,000 and assuming the risk of a dangerous journey.
And leaving your country behind. She has no idea what she's talking about.
So Europeans are being asked to provide welfare, land, and social assistance for fighting-age young men who are flooding into their countries to benefit from welfare.
Look, I criticize a lot of like spiritual mental health sort of self-help people, but like one thing they do get right is like having a scarcity mentality is not wise, and there are intelligent ways to have a abundance mentality. I really do mean that. I mean, like, you should not live your life and like enjoy the things you enjoy constantly worried about scarcity unless you have an actual good reason to be. And immigration fears always strike me as, well, obviously racist, but like just like this weird scarcity mentality. It's not weird. It's very like run of the mill, I guess. It's the scarcity mentality of like, we don't have enough to go around. And that's just so, ideologically misinformed. You just need a little anti-capitalism, and then you can understand like, okay, maybe there actually is plenty to go around.
And not seek refuge. Not only does this weaken European countries, but this weakens the African countries which these men come from as well. These men are not refugees. They're not cheap to bring over. And the coup de grace is that the arrangement generally doesn't work out anyway. These men typically don't understand European culture or European values. They're unemployable, and they end up miserable, disenfranchised, and mired in crime-ridden communities. And everyone is worse off. It is cruel to them, and it is cruel to the European people as well. So what is the right thing to do in this situation? Well, in my opinion, it is almost certainly to stop promoting this mass illegal immigration scam that is filled with shady funding, human traffickers, and death in many cases, because people have been told that if they just get into these dangerous boats, they'll make it to the promised land. And the reality is that people wouldn't come out to the waters anymore and endanger themselves if the boats patrolling the Mediterranean took them back to Libya instead of going to Europe. We wouldn't have the growing problems of the clash of civilizations within Europe if we weren't so adamant on importing hundreds of thousands of people into cultural enclaves. And we could deal with the problems surrounding mass immigration if we just talked about it honestly and realized that no one, left-wing or right-wing, wants people to suffer. We just have different solutions to problems. And sometimes we have to use our brain and not our emotions to find the best solution for everyone. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and I will see you next time.
I'm just thinking about the man who titled a manifesto the same thing as a deleted Lauren Southern video on this exact same concept. Whether she titles all the videos The Great Replacement or not, they're all about that. I'm just thinking about that man who walked into a holy building, or just any regular building, doesn't fucking matter, and murdered people. And did it, I believe he was live streaming. It's very, very disturbing to think about. And I'm just thinking about that man and the people who he took off this planet so many decades before their time. The cumulative life years that that man took away. The hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of cumulative life years that he took away. And the people who knew all the victims, so many people whose lives will be forever permanently influenced by this man who believed that Muslim people should be murdered. In his mind, Muslim people were invaders, and it was his job to do something about it. And I just think about all the human experience that would have happened and all the beautiful love that would have been shared if that man never was radicalized by the internet and by YouTube in particular, he said himself. And if he never was radicalized, maybe he never would have done that, right? And because it was all ideological. So he never would have murdered people, and then there would be more good in the world. Regardless of all my ideas and everything I think, I'll leave you with a simple question, which is, why do you think that Lauren hid these videos? Why did she not put anything in the description or the comments? She didn't let anyone know. And maybe she tweeted about it. I don't know. It would be very reasonable to put it here because the video is still accessible. Still highly accessible. It could be shared widely. It could be shared anywhere. And she could still be paid if she's still using the fucking Bitcoin wallet. But yeah, I'll leave you with that question. Why do you think Lauren didn't want these videos to be public? What is it about these 3 videos we watched today that Lauren decided she did not want to have be public anymore? Who knows?